What is your full name?
Arvilla, Summers, Cook, Parson, Dockstader.
When were you born?
January 17th, 1934.
Where were you born?
I believe I was born in a hospital that most of the natives went to, but I forgot the name.
What county and state or town?
I don't know. Just Wisconsin.
Okay. Describe the house you grew up in.
It was a little wooden framed house, and I mean little, because there was 12 children in the family. There was one main house, one big room at first. Then there was added a master bedroom, and then later there was added a large kitchen area.
What number child were you?
6.
Were you named after a family member, or does your name have a special meaning?
I was named after my mother was in a ward after I was born, and her bed, the lady in the next bed, name was Arvilla. So she thought that was a pretty name and an unusual name, so she named me Arvilla.
Did you have a nickname?
Yeah, Dad always gave us all a nickname, and mine was Badootie.
Do you know why he called you that?
Nope.
What activities did your family do when they were together?
Activities we did were we played baseball, we played Annie over. I think that's the name of it. You threw the ball over the house and you tried to catch it on the other side. And the activities we did together where we would walk down to a abandoned farmhouse, and they had apple trees, so we'd go and pick the apples and eat the apples. We would go in the woods and we'd find snakeberry bushes and eat the snakeberries. They were little oblong berries that were very good, and they were black. And also choke cherries. We also found choke cherries, ate the choke cherries. They were more sour. And we also looked for gooseberries and black caps. Those black cap berries were delicious.
How about card games?
Our favorite card games were Old Maid and Rook and Rummy. I don't remember any other card games except bingo, if you want to call that a card game.
Did you have a favorite toy as a child?
No, I don't believe I had a favorite toy.
What were meal times like? Did you eat together as a family?
Yes, we always ate together. I don't remember anyone eating any other time, like off by themselves or anything. It was always mealtime, and everyone was at the table.
What kinds of things did you eat?
Main staple was potatoes, baked potatoes, boiled potatoes, heated over, heated over and fried over the leftovers from the regular potatoes. Believe that there were some more, but I can't really remember those.
What were your chores at home?
My chores at home were doing the dishes, and we'd take turns. I believe I parted up with Fudge, and then one time she would wash and dry, and then I would dry. Yeah, we'd switch.
Did you have running water in your home?
No, but we had a pump outside, a red pump, and the water was very delicious.
Can you describe a typical day while growing up, like a school day? What was
A
it like?
school day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'd get up and wash our face, get dressed, and walk to school. That would be in the spring or fall. But in the winter, we'd have to put our snowsuits on and our long brown stockings and our long um, underwear with the long legs and the long arms.
What schools did you attend?
Grade school, Silvery Summit. Middle school, Washington Junior High in Green Bay. And East High School in Green Bay.
And how did you get to school?
Walk. To grade school, but we rode a bus to high school and middle school.
What were your favorite subjects in school?
I had several. I had English. I loved English literature. I loved where you learned how to write sentences and stories. And I loved algebra. The most I did not like was home economics because the teacher was a real tall, tough-looking woman. And she had red hair, and it was piled on top of her head. And she had big teeth. And she always talked and talked and talked. And we wanted to hurry and get to our cooking because we rode the bus, and if we didn't get the bus in time, we would have no way home. So one time she talked too long, and I noticed the time. So I left and let the other girls clean up. So the next the next day she was ready for me and gave me a scolding for going home early before everything was ready. And she sent me to the principal's office. So I told the principal what was wrong, and he said, well, just try not to be late again. And I said, okay.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I really didn't know what I wanted to be, except I felt sorry for the poor people of the world. Didn't realize I was one of them. But I wanted to go to Cuba or some foreign land to be a teacher so I could teach them.
Did you play any sports in school?
I was asked to be on the boys' softball team when there weren't enough boy players. And me and my friend, Nancy Skinandor, I believe her name was, and we'd take the boys' part. So I was a pretty good player.
Did you work during high school?
Yes, I did. I worked on the weekends. I would babysit and do ironing for my Aunt Mamie. No, not Mamie, Babe. Her name was Babe. And she had a relative that would come up from Chicago, and he looked like a gangster because he was always dressed in a really, really expensive suit and shoes, and then he'd give me $20 for babysitting for them. That when he was up there, that was like $100 now.
Yeah. Did you have any favorite friends growing up here in Oneida?
My very favorite was Lillian Summers. She and I were pals at school. We'd eat our lunch together. And she introduced me to the sweet sour combination taste. she would have summer sausage in one sandwich, and then she'd have strawberry jam in the other sandwich, and she'd take a bite of the one, then of the other. And so I tried it, and I really enjoyed it too.
What would you and your friends do for fun?
Well, I never went to anyone's friend. Yeah, I did too. But we had to walk, so we didn't visit each other too much, too often. But we'd play cards and, the card games, bingo, and what other things, Old Maid, or we'd just visit, just talk and laugh.
Did you date in high school?
Nope.
Did you have a boyfriend in elementary school?
Yes, he was a red-headed, freckle-faced, handsome or cute. I think he was German. And he apparently grew faster than his clothes because his pants always looked short. And he had high-top shoes.
Did you ever get in trouble as a child or teenager?
What kind of trouble? I got in trouble a lot from my dad because I would be reading a book when I should be scrubbing the floor. And so he'd have to yell at me, put that book down and stop trying to get out of mopping the floor. He knew me.
What were Christmases like for you?
Christmases were fun, they were exciting, and they were sad. I had one sad Christmas, and that was the Methodist Church always provided a gift for each of the children in the area. One Christmas, all the names were called except mine, so I didn't get a present. And I felt really bad. I tried not to cry, and I didn't cry. But my sister, Noel, saw that I didn't get a present, and so she gave me one of hers. But I'll always remember that sad, horrible, left out feeling, which influenced my later life, because when I was at a time when I knew some little kid was not going to get a gift, I made sure that that child got a gift.
Were there any Christmas family traditions?
Yeah, Dad would take all of us. The wife of the minister would plan a Christmas program, and she'd make little angel outfits for us, and we would be angels or shepherds or whatever. And so we'd have to walk up to the program, and we'd have the program, then we'd get our gifts, and then we'd walk home. And while we were gone, Mother would trim the tree. And Dad would wait until Christmas Eve, and then he would walk up to the grocery store who sold Christmas trees, and he would get one of the leftovers for like 50 cents or a quarter or something. So we don't really know what shape the tree was in, but when all the trimmings were on, didn't care.
What is the most important lesson your parents taught you?
To be honest. To be honest.
Describe a favorite memory of your mother.
My favorite memory? I think it would be when she would be cooking and baking and washing. She would be working hard and sweating, but she would she would never be mean to us. She might yell at us, but she wouldn't hit us. You know, she was always really busy. And later on, when we joined the LDS church, she would get dressed up as pretty as she could so she could go to church. And she had a trunk. And when anybody would give her something really pretty to wear, she wouldn't wear it. She would save it for best. And she'd put it in the trunk.
Do you have a favorite memory of your dad?
Yes, my favorite memory of Dad. I have two. He loved to garden, and he kept a good garden. And in his spare time, he would be working in the garden, and I would be out there working with him. We'd be hoeing the weeds, and he would be just talking and talking, telling me some of the Indian legends or stories, and telling some experiences he had, and giving me advice about life. And one of the advice he gave me was, don't trust anybody too far, because most of the time they were after their own personal welfare and trying to cheat other people. So be very careful who you dealt with.
If you could speak to your parents again, what would you say to them or ask them?
I would ask them why they didn't keep a diary, but I knew why they didn't. I mean, they didn't have money for bread, so why would they have money for a diary? But I guess that would be the biggest thing. I wished I knew more about my mother. I wish I knew her early life as much as she could remember. I know she was mistreated by her stepdad, and I know she was um, transferred around her relatives when she was very young. And I got the impression that she may have been an illegitimate child, and so tossed around from family to family until Dad married her at 16. She was 16 when she was married. And I believe Dad was 24 or 25. There was 9 years difference in their ages. Didn't seem to matter at all, though.
How did you feel about being Indian growing up?
It was an embarrassment. I didn't know I was Indian until I was in grade school, and there's a white woman there asking questions of all of us. And one day she was questioning me, and she said, well, now what tribe are you? And I said, what do you mean, what tribe? She said, what tribe of Indian are you? And I says, I don't know. I don't even know I was Indian. And she said, well, will you ask your parents? And I said, yes. And so when I got home, I asked Dad, what tribe are we? And he chuckled and he said, you're the Oneida tribe. And that's how I knew I was Oneida Indian. First time. I was about 7 or 8, too.
How do you feel about it now?
Right now, I feel that I'm really fortunate to be a native. But when I was a teenager, I was ashamed because the kids in school would always call us awful names and make fun of us, how we looked, and made fun of the Indians, period. And so I always tried to be as little Indian as I could possibly be, because that's what the teachers and other students around us when they would tease us and tell us, and make fun of us, I would try, like, they would call us black. And so in the summertime, I would try not to get any sunburn to get blacker. And but now I feel very fortunate because I do belong somewhere. And I don't know if the Germans feel the same way or all the other nationalities feel the same way. But when the missionaries from the Latter-day Saint Church came out from Utah, they told us that every living human being was a child of God. They were all brothers and sisters, although we were all different color and nationality, and that God expected us to love each other, even though we were different. But I know that didn't happen. So, um, yeah, it was. But there were days when I would try to think of what nationality I would be if I could change my nationality, and I'd go from one to the other, and I always find something wrong. And so I decided I'm okay where I am. Just wish I wasn't black.
After high school, what did you do?
After high school, I went immediately to the West because I joined the church, the LDS church, and I went to the school, the church school. That first year there was the funnest, the best year of my life. I went and had, I think there were 5 of us in one little house that we rented all together. There was one double bed, and then there were 2 bunk beds. So top, bottom, bunk beds, 2 of them, that's 4. And then there was must have been a twin bed, the regular bed. So that was 5. To this day, I don't know where we all hung our clothes. I just know that in those days, we didn't have a whole closet full of clothes and a change of clothes every day. So, and we all got along really well, except one of the girls was a born and raised Mormon or LDS. And some Sundays didn't want to go to church. Well, those of us who were converts thought, oh my gosh, she doesn't want to go to church? The most important thing in the world? But I also remember that poem, Invictus. I'm the captain of my soul, captain of my faith. I can't recite it now, but it said that you're your own captain. You decide in your own life what you're going to do. So to end the argument, I would quote that song. I mean that verse, and her name was, what was her name? I can't remember it, but she would always say, "Thank you, Arvilla." and then the other girl would just be quiet.
Did you work while you were in college?
Yes, I worked as a nurse's aide in the Utah Valley Hospital.
How did you meet your spouse?
Which one?
Philip.
I don't remember the exact moment, but I do remember going to stake conference. And after stake conference was over, all the students were walking back to their dorms. And Philip and this cute blonde was walking just ahead of us. And my roommates and I were behind them. And and I said, "See that young man over there?" And they said, "Yes." And I says, "I'm going to marry him someday." And they said, "Oh, you are?" And they laughed, and it came true.
How did he ask you out? Or how did you get to know him?
I got to know him because there was a Indian group that was forming on campus called the Tribe of Many Feathers. And so all the native students were invited to join that club. So I joined and he joined, along with Russ Burnham. And I thought they were the cutest, handsomest boys because they looked so different from the Navajo boys and the other tribal boys.